I walked into Crimson Ink Studio with a Pinterest board full of cover-up ideas and a broken heart I was trying to turn into art. My ex had given me a matching tattoo 2 years ago, her name in delicate script on my ribcage, a promise that lasted exactly 8 months after the ink dried. Now I wanted it gone, transformed into something that was just mine. The tattoo artist looked at my reference photos, then looked at me and asked the question that changed everything. Who hurt you? Not, what do you want me to design? Not, this will take multiple sessions. Just, who hurt you? Like she could see straight through my carefully rehearsed explanation about wanting something new. I wasn't expecting honesty to be required for a consultation. I definitely wasn't expecting to start crying in a tattoo shop at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. And I absolutely wasn't expecting her to hand me a tissue, sit down across from me and say, "Take your time. I'm not going anywhere. And when you're ready, we're going to turn that hurt into something beautiful." Before we dive into how my tattoo artist became my therapist, my friend, and eventually something I didn't see coming, drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from, and please subscribe to help the channel grow. This story is about healing, art, and learning that sometimes the person who helps you cover your scars ends up healing something deeper. My name is Riley Morgan, I'm 27, and I have 7 tattoos. 6 of them I love. One of them was a mistake I stared at every morning for 2 years, a constant reminder of someone who promised forever and left before we even hit a year. Her name was Vanessa. We met at a mutual friend's party, had one of those instant connection moments people write songs about, and moved way too fast. 3 months in, she suggested we get matching tattoos. Her idea was sweet and romantic, a symbol of our commitment. I was so in love I ignored the voice in my head saying, maybe wait. We went to a walk-in shop, got each other's names in delicate script, mine on my ribcage, just under my left breast, hers on her hip. We took photos, posted them online with captions about soulmates and forever. It felt significant and permanent and perfect. 6 months later, she cheated. 8 months after the tattoo, we were over. And I was left with her name literally carved into my skin, a daily reminder of my own bad judgment. For 2 years, I avoided looking at it, wore high-coverage bras, one-piece swimsuits, avoided mirrors after showers. My friends told me to get it covered or removed. I kept putting it off, telling myself I'd do it eventually, when I was ready. Eventually came on a random Tuesday when I caught my reflection getting dressed and felt such a wave of anger and sadness that I Googled best cover-up tattoo artists near me before I could talk myself out of it. Crimson Ink Studio had hundreds of 5-star reviews. The portfolio showed incredible cover-up work, transforming names into flowers, dates into geometric patterns, mistakes into art. I called, got an appointment for that afternoon, and showed up with a folder of Pinterest inspiration and zero emotional preparation. The studio was gorgeous. Exposed brick, plants everywhere, indie music playing softly. The receptionist smiled and said, "You must be Riley. Sloane's ready for you in room 3. Sloane. I walked down the hall and found room 3, knocked once and heard, "Come in." She was standing at a light table, studying a design. Tall, probably early 30s, with sleeve tattoos on both arms, undercut dark hair, warm brown eyes behind thin frame glasses. She wore black jeans, Doc Martens, and a fitted black t-shirt that said, "Art heals everything." She looked up and smiled. "Riley?" "That's me." "I'm Sloane. Have a seat." She gestured to a chair. "So you mentioned on the phone this is a cover-up?" "Yeah." I pulled out my reference folder. "I have my ex's name on my ribcage and I want it turned into something else. Something that's mine." She took the folder, flipped through the images. Flowers, mandalas, abstract designs. Then she looked up at me. "Can I see it? The tattoo you want covered?" I lifted my shirt, showed her. The name Vanessa in elegant script, about 3 inches long, slightly faded but still clearly legible. Sloane studied it for a long moment. Not the way you'd examine a technical problem, the way you'd look at someone's wound. "Who hurt you?" she asked quietly. I wasn't ready for that. For her to see past the artistic problem to the emotional one. My throat tightened. "My ex," I managed. "We got matching tattoos. Then she cheated." "How long ago?" 2 years. And you're just covering it now? I wasn't ready before. She nodded slowly. Can I ask, why now? What changed? I'm tired of carrying her with me. I want my body to be mine again. Something in Sloane's expression softened. Okay, that's a good reason. The best reason, actually. She sat down across from me, pulled out a sketch pad. Here's what I'm thinking. This is going to take multiple sessions, probably 6 to 8, depending on the design complexity and your pain tolerance. We'll need to go slowly because ribcage work is intense and we want to do it right. I'm not just covering up a name. I'm helping you reclaim your body. That takes time. Okay. Second thing, I need you to be honest with me throughout this process. If it's too painful physically or emotionally, we stop. If you need to talk, we talk. If you need silence, we work in silence. This is your journey. I'm just the person with the tattoo gun. I felt tears prick unexpectedly. You didn't even ask what I wanted the design to be. Because we're going to figure that out together. I've seen your Pinterest board. It's full of pretty images that don't mean anything to you. We're not putting random flowers over your ex's name. We're creating something that represents who you are now post-heartbreak. Something that tells your story. I don't know what that is yet. Then we'll figure it out over the next several weeks. First session is just talking, getting to know you, understanding what you want this art to say. That's when I started crying. Actually crying. In this stranger's tattoo studio. Because she'd somehow made this about healing instead of just aesthetics. Sloane handed me a tissue box without comment, let me cry for a solid minute, then said gently, "Take your time. I'm not going anywhere. And when you're ready, we're going to turn that hurt into something beautiful." Our first session was 3 hours of talking with no tattooing. Sloane asked me about my life, my interests, what mattered to me. She asked about Vanessa, not to dwell on her, but to understand the context of the wound. She asked what I wanted to feel when I looked at this new tattoo. Strong, I said, like I survived something. You did survive something. Then I want proof of that, visual proof. Sloane sketched while we talked, rough shapes and concepts. By the end of the session, she'd filled 5 pages with ideas, none of them looking like my Pinterest board. These were personal, specific, mine. I'm thinking a phoenix, she said, showing me a rough concept. Not the cliché kind. Something more abstract, with geometric elements. Rising from where her name was. Covering it completely, but also transforming it into something about rebirth. I looked at the sketch. It was perfect. When can we start? Next week. Come back Tuesday, we'll do the outline. Plan for 2 hours. And Riley? She met my eyes. This is going to hurt. The ribs are one of the most painful places. But I think you can handle it. How do you know? Because you're here. That took courage. Session 2 was the outline. Sloane was right. It hurt like hell. The ribs have almost no cushioning. Every line felt like fire. But she worked steadily, gave me breaks, talked to me through the pain. Breathe. You're doing great. Remember, this is temporary pain to cover permanent hurt. You're choosing this pain. That's power. I held on to that through 2 hours of needlework, and when she finally wiped away the excess ink and let me see the outline in the mirror, I cried again. The name was already disappearing under the phoenix's wings. It's working, I said. We're just getting started. Sessions 3 through 6 were shading, color, detail. Each one took 2 to 3 hours. Each one hurt. But somewhere around session 4, I stopped thinking about Vanessa and started thinking about the art, about Sloane's steady hands and calm voice. About the way she'd play music she thought I'd like, ask about my week, make the studio feel less like a business transaction and more like therapy with needles. You're good at this, I said during session 5, while she worked on color gradients in the phoenix's wings. Tattooing? Making people feel safe. She paused, looked up. I had a lot of practice being on the other side. I've got plenty of cover-ups of my own. Yeah? She pushed up her left sleeve, showed me a gorgeous geometric mountain range. Used to be my ex-girlfriend's initials. She was my first love, first everything. When it ended, I thought I'd never recover. Got this done by the artist who taught me the trade. She told me the same thing I'm telling you, pain into art. Did it work? Eventually. The tattoo helped. But what really helped was realizing I could take something painful and transform it into something powerful, that I wasn't defined by who hurt me. Is that why you became a tattoo artist? Part of why. I like helping people reclaim their stories. She went back to work. Plus, I get to draw all day and call it a job. Not bad. By session 8, the Phoenix was nearly complete. Just detail work and touch-ups left. And somewhere along the way, I'd started looking forward to appointments not just for the tattoo progress, but to see Sloane. To hear her talk about art and healing and her rescue dog and her favorite coffee shops. To watch her work with such careful precision, her tongue poking out slightly when she concentrated. I'm going to miss this, I said during session 9. Miss what? The pain? The appointments, having a reason to see you. She looked up, met my eyes. Something passed between us. Who says you need a reason? We could grab coffee outside of here. My heart did something complicated. Like, as friends? Like as friends who might want to be more than friends, if that's something you're interested in exploring once we're done with the professional relationship. You've been thinking about this. Since session 3, when you told me about your dog and made that terrible pun about positive thinking. I knew I was in trouble. I laughed, surprised. That was a terrible pun. It was. But you were so proud of yourself. It was cute. Sloane, are you flirting with me? Ethically waiting until I'm done being your tattoo artist to flirt with you. There's a difference. How many sessions do we have left? 3, maybe 4. That's a long time to wait. Good things are worth waiting for. She went back to work, but she was smiling. Sessions 10 and 11 flew by. The tattoo was nearly perfect. A gorgeous abstract phoenix rising from geometric flames, covering every trace of Vanessa's name. The colors were vibrant, the lines clean, the detail incredible. I couldn't stop staring at it in the mirror. This is the most beautiful thing I own, I said. You own your story now, Sloane corrected. The tattoo is just the visual representation. Session 12 was touch-ups and final details. Sloane worked meticulously, perfecting every line, every shade. When she finally set down her tattoo gun and said, "We're done," I felt both elated and sad. It's perfect. You're perfect. The tattoo is just ink. She cleaned the area gently, applied aftercare ointment, bandaged it. Okay, usual aftercare instructions apply. Keep it clean, moisturized, out of direct sunlight for a few weeks. Come back in a month for a check-in to make sure healing went well. And then you're free of me professionally. She pulled off her gloves, met my eyes, which means I can officially ask, Riley, would you like to go to dinner with me? Real dinner, not just coffee, where we can talk about things that aren't tattoo-related? I would love that. Friday night? Friday night. We went to a small Italian place downtown. Sloane wore a green button-up that made her eyes look incredible, and I wore a dress that showed off my new tattoo through strategic cutouts. We talked for 3 hours. About art, about our families, about past relationships and future dreams, about everything and nothing. Can I see it again? Sloane asked. The finished piece? Not as your artist, as someone who wants to admire my own work. I turned slightly, let her see the phoenix in full. She reached out, traced the outline gently with her fingertips. Not clinical this time, but reverent. You're not carrying her anymore, she said quietly. No. I'm carrying this instead. Something I chose. How does it feel? Like freedom. She smiled. Good. That's what I was hoping for. We dated for 6 months before making it official. Sloane was patient with my trust issues, understanding when I needed space, present when I needed reassurance. She never pushed, never demanded more than I could give, just showed up consistently and let me learn to believe in love again at my own pace. A year after my final session, we were lying in her bed one Sunday morning, and she traced the phoenix on my ribcage idly. You know what's funny? She said. What? You came to me to cover up someone else's mistake. And somehow, I ended up being the person who got to witness you healing. You weren't just a witness. You were part of it. We were part of it together, she corrected. She kissed my shoulder, right above where the phoenix's wings extended. Thank you for letting me help. Thank you for asking who hurt you, instead of just giving me what I asked for. I could see you needed more than a cover-up. You needed to reclaim yourself. Mission accomplished. She laughed. Yeah, mission very accomplished. 2 years later, I got another tattoo from Sloane. This time not to cover anything up, but to add to my story. A matching piece with her, not names. We'd both learned that lesson. Instead, geometric birds in flight, mine on my ankle, hers on her wrist. Symbols of freedom and partnership, of two people who'd both survived heartbreak and found each other. My tattoo artist asked, "Who hurt you?" And over 12 sessions, she helped me transform that hurt into art. But more than that, she helped me transform myself into someone who wasn't defined by past pain. She taught me that healing isn't about erasing what happened. It's about creating something new and beautiful in its place. I still have 7 tattoos. 6 of them I've always loved. The 7th, the phoenix that covers Vanessa's name, I love most of all. Not because it's the most beautiful, though it is, but because it represents the moment I stopped letting someone else's choices define my body and my story. And because the woman who created it ended up being the one who taught me what healthy love actually looks like. Sloane didn't just fix my tattoo. She helped me fix my heart. And now, every time I look at that phoenix, I don't see what I lost. I see what I gained: strength, healing, and the courage to love again. The pain was temporary, the art is forever, and so, I hope, is this.